In my office, I have a curious presentation up on the wall called the Hall of Fame. It essentially is in the background of some of my videos, and it's portraits of individuals. I'm going to take a moment to share this with you and the valuable lesson of looking at successes, historical successes, and how to apply this to your own success in business. This is Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. One of the relationships that you need to have is not only with yourself, but the context of your future self. There is somebody in the future who you will become. This person can be better than who you are today. This person can be worse than who you are today. This person may have strengths in an area that you don't even know you have strengths in today. It could have weaknesses that you're not aware of. This context of future self is who you become through the activities you perform each day. Now, while it sounds esoteric, you might be asking the question, where do I get this direction? How do I know what I do next in order to reach the goals and objectives I have? Well, I use what's called a Hall of Fame. A Hall of Fame is basically, as you're reading literature, as you're working through your day-to-day life experiences, as you interact with people, as you read books, you're going to discover individuals who have overcome the challenges that you face today and who have achieved the levels that you desire in the future. These individuals have wisdom and lessons that you can build upon. So pretty much every Christian is going to have Jesus as a Hall of Fame person, somebody who to emulate or to learn from. Our folks of the Muslim faith are going to have a Muhammad, peace be upon him. But ultimately, you're going to have some prophet, some person, some interaction. Now, my Hall of Fame is more about the business world, the secular world. Oops. Another call came. Anyway, the Hall of Fame that I'm talking about right now is kind of business and general life oriented. So on my board, I'll turn around here. I've got Bill Mollison, the founder of permaculture. He established a systems-based approach for looking at environmental management or environmental services, working with nature and in an ecological way rather than demanding from nature. I've got Walter E. Williams, an economist, who talked about some of the unintended consequences that come in when we're looking at economic policy. You should be able to look at your Hall of Fame, and for every portrait on there, these are basically headshots off the people's websites, or you can search it online, you'll see the person and be able to just give a very quick biography of each individual. Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington wrote the book Up From Slavery. He was an actual slave who overcame the diversity and the adversity and the challenges that he faced as a slave to become a successful teacher to Tuskegee Institute and also an inspiration for millions of people. Even if it's just a surface level understanding, you have touched the stories and read and absorbed the lessons of these individuals and can learn something from them to apply in your own life. So Booker T. Washington teaches me how to overcome adversity. He had everything against him, and what he did was become so valuable to the marketplace that he had to be accepted, even in a time where it was not a default acceptance. These things here are what we're doing to set up mnemonics in our brain so that we can remember lessons, and we are establishing parable in order to recall lessons for application. So you're going to choose 5 to 10 individuals. These are heroes. These are people who you're inspired by. Lillian Vernon, for example, sets up a mail order company that focuses on customization of low-cost product. So somebody's buying a commodity, but they're getting it customized for themselves. She adds value to the community. She builds a multi-million-dollar mail order business, catalog company. Now, there's no special requirement about who these people are. These people are your Hall of Fame, your heroes, your observation of those who contribute. Now, I've got a binder where I've got many more individuals, and I haven't put them all up on the wall. But putting them up on the wall is a visual reminder as if they are looking over you and reminding you, whispering in your ear these lessons that help you overcome the challenges that you face. Now, my board is very diverse, and you could have gotten lessons from people who are otherwise not be worthy of a lesson. So you may have a binder that has headshots of individuals who, in general, were very horrible people, but in their general, when you research their biographies, when you look into the historical figure, you both see the faults and you see the successes. Now, it's your opportunity to take the successes, to take the lessons learned and apply them to your future self, apply them to wisdom and consulting of individuals around you. But you also have to acknowledge that these people they got problems too. For every hero on my wall, they've got drawbacks as well as contributions. This is the juxtaposition of life that we have, where, even Mother Teresa praised what she has done, but there are questionable things that she has done as well. And so how do we accept both the good and the bad? It's part of that lesson for learning. So the yin and the yang of our world of understanding. Now, this Hall of Fame board, being in your office, being where you spend the most of the time of the work, is a visual reminder of the lessons. Not as the individual. We're not worshiping these individuals. We're not praising these individuals. We are learning from their lessons. So many of them write books. You read the books. Many of them have had biographies written about them. You read the biographies about them. And then you jot down the key lessons that you can apply in your life that are meaningful to you, that are touch points, that are the parables and the lessons. Now, being that these photos are in public view, behind over my shoulder in videos, I don't put everybody up there. There's not enough room on the wall, and really I'd like to put a better shelf system. But I've been in environments where they've had this Hall of Fame, which was their former leadership. So in a corporation, you might see the past presidents of the corporation. In a nonprofit, you might see the top donors. It is okay to have a private board that shows the individuals who are inspiration to you that maybe nobody else knows who they are. In my personal case, I don't want to put photographs of friends or people that are still alive on the board. Now, there's no intention that if there is a living person on the board that they're expected to die. But ultimately, the public board tends to be individuals who have already passed on, because there is a concept that you can admire a person, and that admiring of them or that holding them to a higher standard is actually a conflict. And we can talk about that in another case. But for example, I can admire Donald Trump and I can admire Joe Biden. There's no conflict in that, because individuals are more than just their current state or what they're doing. And there may not be a whole lot to admire in either of those cases, but if someone were to observe the photograph of both of those individuals together, it raises more questions than answers. I'm looking for answers. I'm looking for information and resources that I can apply to reach the outcomes that I'm looking for. And so I've read the biographies. I've read and sometimes you read the biography and find out the person's a bastard, that you should not respect them for any case, because their behavior, even though they're being praised in this behavior, the behavior isn't constructive. But again, the Hall of Fame is about a mnemonic, a mental or visual reminder of the lessons that are relevant to your situation. Okay, so there's no, these people have overcome obstacles. They've gotten to the next level. You don't need to explain to anybody the obstacle that you've overcome with their insight or help. It's just a personal type of setup. But this is very important for you to do. If you have a few people that you've read lessons about, and they could be fictional people, it could be Superman up there, could be Batman or Robin, it could be somebody who is an artist. I have a friend of mine who has Stan Lee up on the wall, because Stan Lee originally, when he went into the industry, worked within the system and then decided one day that, you know what, we're going to change things a little bit. So originally in comic books, the artists got no royalties. The artists had no stake in the game. And Stan Lee comes along and creates his own publishing company and owns the licensing and rights to the characters and turns merchandises characters. And that for this individual was a very important thing. This person has taken something that has always been, looked at it a different way, and created a whole new opportunity for people. The next thing to consider is that no matter how successful somebody is, that there are failures in their lives. And so that's why I don't tend to put living people up on the board, because, they're still a work in progress. I may read the biography and we find out years later that the biography was made up. It wasn't even real. The lessons might be useful, but it was basically a work of fiction. So let me summarize. First off, your Hall of Fame is a personal decision. It could be in a binder. It could be up on the wall. When I was teaching karate, you may not know this, I have a black belt in Okinawan style karate, and I used to be an instructor, and we had in front of the room the founding fathers of the tradition or the methods as reminders that these folk, we need to do good in our work. We need to have quality and value in our work. The Catholic Church, for example, has portraits and pictures of their saints in their churches and cathedrals, and that's a reminder of different aspects of our life. So it's very personal to you. You might have the 12 disciples. You may even have Judas up there just to remind you of the betrayal that was necessary in order for the prophecies to be fulfilled. You may have individuals up there that are criminals because you want to remind yourself that they took the easy path and they are punished for it. But again, a lot of people will have a hall of shame for those types of folks. But my point being is that if you learn history firsthand rather than what you've been told, if you take the time to read the biographies, if you take the time to get to know these individuals, you will often find lessons that will take you to the next level. They're lessons that help you understand that the world around you is way more complex than you can imagine. And these detractors outside, they're the same detractors that George Washington had. They're the same detractors that Thomas Jefferson had. They're the same detractors that Frederick Douglass had. And how did they respond to those? So, for example, Malcolm X is in my binder. Okay, his portrait's going up on the wall, and to a lot of people, Malcolm X was a problem. And so I have Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. right next to each other. They are polar opposites on how to respond to the issues of civil rights in that particular time period. They're two sides of the pole. Now, I understand where their positions were because I've done the reading and I've done the research, and you may not agree with those positions. But again, your Hall of Fame is about you. It isn't about anything else. It's about your child coming into the room and saying, "Who's that on the wall?" And you being able to confidently provide the 2 or 3 lessons that were associated with that individual. It's about you having a tough day and going into your office and going, "You know what, this company's just not going to make it." And then you see Thomas Edison on the board. Well, how did Thomas Edison become successful? Thomas Edison didn't really invent much at all. He was a marketer of inventions and actually had a whole office full of individuals who invented things. See, this is about context. This is about understanding the relationships between individuals and time periods. This is about translating those relationships into practical implementation. Now, this can be a complex topic. I've consulted with clients who wanted to build their vision board or their Hall of Fame or even a library of biographies, and they didn't know whether certain people should be there. And it's not about my decision whether those people should be there. They could be complete bastards for all I know. It's about why. Why do you have this question? And what have you read? What have you done in study? What do you know to be true? What do you have outstanding that has a challenge that needs to be addressed? All of these things together help polish your critical thinking. They help level up when it comes to understanding people in general. And they give you a greater empathy for both the people you're going to interact with, and your own situation and the future self that you're seeking to become. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. I know this is kind of a topic that's a little bit different than what we've covered before. And it's in response to the questions about the Hall of Fame that's over my shoulder in some of my videos. But ultimately, it's really about a collection of mentors, a collection of individuals who inspire you to go to the next level, who have overcome challenges and give you context in addressing your own challenges, and ultimately focus your mind on the future you want rather than the problems we face today. There's an unlimited supply of problems that we face today, and this really anchors you with a visual representation of individuals who've already achieved. They've already gone to the next level. So you're gonna have people on your list that nobody but you believes they've achieved. But ultimately, it is really about preserving the knowledge necessary to reach the outcomes that you desire. It's about inspiration, and it's about holding yourself accountable. Once you learn about these individuals, you're going to have to hold yourself accountable to getting the results that you say you want to get. Altogether, it's a powerful way to level up. It's a powerful way to gain focus. And that's one of the things that we do here at Inside Strategic Relations. If you have questions, you can visit www.insidestrategicrelations.com. Simply go to the contact page and send in your questions. And also understand that the relationships that we're talking about, when we talk about business relationships into profits, okay? Well, that's a play on words as well. What relationships have you had in the past? What mentors have taken you to the next level? What experiences are profits for telling the future of yourself, teaching the lessons necessary to have wisdom? See, it's a complex topic. I'd love to explore that topic with you as a private client. Private clients tend to be highly affluent individuals, very, very high incomes, running businesses, individuals who have a lot of stake in the game. And this is just one of the many ways that we can really dial in and focus and almost create for you that future self in your mind today, which guides your daily behavior and takes you to that next level. It's that edge activity that gives you the perseverance. We can talk about it from a religious perspective. We can talk about it from a secular perspective. But ultimately, take a little bit of time today and find the 2 or 3 people who you look up to. And then make a conscious effort to document their wisdom, to read and study what they have to teach you. And you're going to find this easiest in the religious texts. But let's go a little bit beyond that and look in our general world. Focus on historical individuals. Focus on understanding their time and their experiences. And it's just going to open up a whole new world and hopefully take you away from the distractions that are on the internet. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. Thanks for listening. If you have questions about this or anything else we cover, simply just visit the website and ask the questions. It's www.insidestrategicrelations.com. Thanks for listening.